everybody, and welcome to GenFriends. I'm your host, Cheri Hudson Passey from Carolina Girl Genealogy. And tonight, we decided on GenFriends to take just a special time to honor our dear friend, Russ Worthington, as we called him Cousin Russ, who passed away on Wednesday, May 11th. We thought it would be fitting just to take just a few minutes and just talk about some of our memories of him and just share some thoughts and send our love out to him and his family and all those in the genealogy community who loved him so much. So I'm going to share a screenshot really quick, but first of all, hang on, let me see, I'm going to do it again because I'm thinking about Russ, but let me introduce our panelists. We've got Melissa Barker, the archive lady. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Cheri.
And we've got Laura Hedgecock from Treasure Chest of Memories. Hi, Laura.
Hey, everybody.
We've got Dan Earl, our family history guy. Hi, Dan.
Hello.
And Shelley Murphy, family tree girl, is here.
Hi, everybody.
It's so good to have you guys all here, and thank you for coming and joining me for this. We have other panel members that wanted to be here tonight but because of other things, other schedules, they couldn't. So, but we all love Russ, and so we just wanted to take a few minutes. And I was going to show this picture if I can get my screen to share correctly, because you know when you're trying to do technology, when you're doing live, sometimes things don't work. Let me see. Can you guys see this picture? You'll see that? Okay, so yeah. This is the first time I ever met Russ. It was 2015. It was that joint Roots Tech FGS conference, right? And so I had been kind of joining in the conversation on Dear Mert, you know, and he'd pull in the conversations and he'd say, Cheri has something to say. And so I get there and I see Russ and it's like the celebrity, right? Yeah. But the funny thing is he said, Cheri, and I'm like, oh my gosh, because I really hadn't started speaking a lot or anything like that. I was just kind of participating and commenting and stuff on Dear Mert on Mondays. And so I was struck that he even knew who I was, but he was so just gentle and warm and almost to the point where, why are people coming up to me is how he felt. And then I'll stop the share. But then I was able to go on from there and do some of the study groups with them. And then when we started doing GenFriends, he reached out to me a couple of different times and said, do you need any help with the technology? How are things going? The show looks great, you know? And I asked him, I said, the only thing I'm having trouble with is my computer at the time, the camera wasn't very good. And I just said to him, what do you use? And he told me. 2 days later, Amazon delivery, he sent me one. So the camera that I use now, and for some reason right now I'm in a shadow and a light bulb must have gone out. The camera that I use now is one that Russ sent me. So kindest heart, generous man, always made you feel comfortable, and always, he never, you know, you ask him for help, he was there, you know, he just, well, hang on, let me send you a Zoom link, and boom, you know, he was right there and he would help. So I know that he's helped so many people in the community with Myrtle, you know, working with Dear Myrtle, but also with the Family Tree Maker. Now I don't use Family Tree Maker, but man, he helps people with Family Tree Maker. And then of course his work with the genealogy societies around him, he was always teaching classes. So I just want to take those few minutes and just you know, just thank him for that kindness and that generosity that he always shared with me. So if anybody else wants to take a moment, go right ahead. Dan.
I'll go, if that's all right. So I really didn't know Russ really as well as I would have liked, but he was always just super kind and just open and welcoming anytime I would talk to him. He and Pat were the first guests that we had on the Vivid Pics show that we did at the very beginning of the pandemic, and just offered his expertise to the world in terms of knowing what they knew about Zoom and and helping genealogical societies and others try to take those meetings and digitize them virtually through Zoom, and was just so open and so gracious about being willing to do that and offer help. And so
exactly, you know, that reminds me real quick is that the first time that my genealogy club had an actual hybrid meeting was before hybrid was cool. Before everybody was trying to figure out how to do hybrid, we wanted to have Pat and Russ speak to our genealogy society. So several years ago, they walked us through being able to have them speak to us, them be able to answer our questions. And they took several tries before that. They would get with our tech people. And I mean, they didn't charge us money for that. They didn't, you know, say, well, if we're going to teach you how to do this, you got to pay us this or whatever. They volunteered their time. And I think that's why we were able to have our very first actual successful after COVID hybrid meeting this past Tuesday, is because they taught us way back when, before it was cool to do it. So that reminded me of that, Dan. Thank you so much for that reminder. Laura?
I had a similar experience. The first time I met Russ, Pat had me on Dear Mert to talk about my book. And she told me what earphones to buy. And when I say Pat, that's Pat Richley Erickson, also known as Dear Myrtle. And they had a green room where I met with Russ, and he talked me through everything and what to expect. And then when Genealogist went nonprofit, he was a supporter. And I have a picture. I'm going to try to, let me get it up before I share the screen. Watch my window say, I can't open it. Look at that. So I'm going to open with a different program. So because
if for any reason it won't open, we'll put it in the blog post. But
okay.
let's hope it opens.
Yeah, it's going to open in this. But so we had a leadership team, and you guys will recognize the people in this photo. Let me share screen. Okay, now it's up. It's in a.
Here we go. It's coming.
It's
coming. Oh.
At a restaurant in Salt Lake City.
I was going to say, isn't that the Marriott?
No,
that's just
Italian restaurant.
Oh.
Here you see Hillary. All of us were then working on taking Genealogist nonprofit, except for this guy who is
Dalton.
Yeah. So we had something started with the D, cousin.
It's Dalton.
Dalton, right?
Yeah.
Cousin Russ. And the interesting thing about this photo as well, of course, he was by Pat as always.
Yes.
And but he does not have a hat on in this photo.
Yes.
So it's a precious photo. And the one I couldn't find, and I know I took a picture of him and Pat together in his booth where he was doing the family tree maker and giving advice.
Right.
But yeah, that basically defined him. He was sometimes in the background, but especially if you look at the genealogical community on Facebook, what people said about him: kind, open, warm, and helpful. Absolutely. And really, that's a nice way to write your own legacy, that you were a person that helped others. Yeah. So, but it is really sad. I think he and Pat had just retired from Dear Mert.
Right. And that's the last time I spoke to him was on that show, that retirement show. That was the last time, because they had those of us that had been on the panel, those of us that could, because Melissa, I think you were working that day. You were listening, but you didn't come on to the panel.
Yes, I was listening in.
Yeah, so you're listening. And so that was the last time I actually, just a couple of weeks ago, had actually spoken to him. So.
And I also have a photo of every Roots Tech. Pat would have a whole bunch of us over at her house.
Yes.
And you have probably seen this one. I'll share again as it opens. Okay, this one. Are you seeing this? Here he is right on the.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here are the troublemakers here.
Yeah, here we are.
That's a great picture.
It is. And he out with Judy and
Judy Russell. There's a whole bunch of people in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
a
it
There's
does feel
Mr.
like-
Mert too.
Mhm.
Yes. And it does kind of feel like the end of an era.
It does. It does. It really, really does. Thank you, Laura. That was.
But
that
look
was
how
beautiful.
many of us he's,
Yeah.
I'm going to say left behind per se. And I don't know if that's the right way of saying it, that he helped so many.
Oh,
you know.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So I guess I'll go next since I
Okay.
opened my mouth. Unless you want to go, Melissa.
Go ahead, Shelley.
Well, I was with the Mondays with Myrtle and the Fridays and all of that,
Mhm.
but I can't really pinpoint when I first connected with him. Yes, the family tree maker in the booth at the Roots Tex and stuff, but it was back then. I reached out to him. I was in a couple of the study groups, and you too, Cheri.
Yeah.
And so I know I can go back that far. And then I reached out to him about a Isabel Worthington, who was my 9th great grandmother,
Yes.
which is, and he said, hold on, that looks familiar. I'll get back to you. But anyway, we share same ancestors and stuff. So we're actually cousins. And then Mert says, well, if you're his cousin, you got to be my cousin and all this. But we took our Worthington lines back to England, to Lancashire, England, and were able, and of course, come forward. But that wasn't the first how I connected, but he helped me on Maggie stuff, UVA stuff, and this is stuff folks don't even know. But again, always there.
Sure.
Always supportive. I created like an original tree or a master tree for the descendants, and all of their trees are in one big tree on Ancestry. And of course, he wanted me to put it on Family Tree Maker. So I did and stuff. And so created a tree, but I went just a couple days ago and it was like, wait, how do I do this? Help me, and I had to stop myself, and remember. And I said, okay, Karen K, what did he tell us to do? And she's another person that's always on Mondays with Mert and stuff. And she's out of Baltimore. But again, in the research skills that he had, he shared. Whatever he could, he shared, but it was just the giving, just absolutely selfless service. And I just say, he's one of the good guys. That was out there. He never challenged me or questioned me. He worked with me. And so I appreciate that, even though, of course, umpteen years ago, we actually got relatives together and stuff. And also the board line was a whole nother line. And he brought to me and he said, well, look at this, and look what I've got here. And because he had my tree and all of that. And he's got that master tree and stuff. But he said, look at this. And again, just always willing to share his time. And that's the best memory, you can have. And of course, I'll have conversations, going along, because like I said, I called Karen K. What did he tell us? Just, oh my God, I don't remember. Wait a minute. Let's see if we can walk back through here. And it's been hard. It's really been hard. And this is really first time me talking about him, So, all right, Melissa.
Thank you, Shelley. Thank you, Shelley. And just real quick, Shelley, if you're a cousin to Russ and somehow we are related,
there you go.
That means I'm related to Russ. So
yes.
Russ. All righty. That makes me happy.
That is correct. Yes.
Melissa.
I unfortunately never got to meet Russ in person, but we interacted and got to know each other virtually, I guess you could say. He even actually called me at home a couple of times, but
Lucky you.
I know one of the first things that happened with me was actually professional level, because 2015 was the year that I started the Archive Lady and started speaking and writing and all this stuff. And so the advice that was given to me was to get yourself on Mondays with Mert. because that would get you some exposure. So I reached out. I was very nervous because, you know, they're a big deal. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's, you just, you know, but anyway, they were very gracious and let me come on and had me on many times. And then they actually offered to host the Archive Lady on Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I did that for, I want to say 2 to 3 years.
Wow.
Every Wednesday nights. And they've graciously got all of those videos on their YouTube channel.
Yeah. Yeah.
For anybody to see. And so they did it all free of charge. They never, I mean, nothing.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And so, but what was kind of funny to me, and I never asked him about it, but I work out of my home office. Well, my home office is also our guest bedroom. So the only thing that makes it a guest bedroom is the fact there's a bed in here. But it's only used probably once a year from my in-laws. But so I would be on camera and you could see my bookshelves behind me or whatever, but then you could see also the corner of the bed. And I always had it made up and never was messy or anything. But one day out of the blue, I came home and there was this really tall box. And I thought, I didn't order anything. What is this? And so when I opened it up, it was an actual green screen.
Yes, it was.
And he had sent me as a gift this green screen, and I thought, I guess they're tired of seeing that bed. But so now I use it every single time I'm on that I can use my green screen. I use it, and I remember him. But one of the first presentations I gave was for Dave Robeson's genealogy group in Massachusetts. Yeah, and he was new too. Dave was new at all. Of course, this is before COVID. This is before virtual presentations were popular. So this is, like I said, 2015, and he was where he was, and we could not get this to work. And so we reached out to Cousin Russ, and he helped us. And I ended up talking through Skype. I had emailed Dave my slides, and he was advancing my slides there in the room, and we had Russ somehow on there helping us along. So that was my experience with that.
That's it.
Oh, wow.
But both of them Russ and Myrtle have just been amazing to me. And I don't know if the Archive Lady would have gotten as far as I have without them. They have helped so many professional genealogists, professional speakers to get out there, then they've always been selfless that way.
Right. I feel the same way, because had they not welcomed me on,
right,
the study groups and all those kinds of things, and then invited me to, come have dinner, those types of things, as they just loved on you when they saw you, I was always amazed anybody would even know what my name was, and they'd say, I saw you on Mondays with Myrtle, and I'm like, oh, okay. So you're right. I think they really did help a lot of us kind of get that start and get a little bit of name recognition,
and they did it selfulessly. That's the thing. Nowadays everybody wants something in return, and they never did.
Nothing.
They never did.
No.
It's interesting how it's hard to separate Russ from Myrtle.
It is.
But if you look at her avatar, the way she started her career, or the Mondays with Myrtle, is your friend in genealogy.
Yes.
She didn't want to be the richest person in genealogy. She, and so that's kind of the way she did it. And the other thing that that I'd forgotten to say, that the thing that really impressed me with Russ was one time we were trying to figure, Zoom was new at one point.
It really was.
Wow. Now we're all experts.
And we were all trying to use Google Hangouts, which
yes.
And I remember I was talking to Russ about a problem with Google Hangouts and hosting meetings for Genealobloggers, and he said, well, I was talking with the Google guys the other day. And I was like, oh, really? So tell me. But that was what he did. I mean, he was deeply into the technical and had a lot of ins at Google to find things out.
And I don't know how many followed his podcast and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Too.
But
just great stuff. And again, family tree maker.
The great thing is all those podcasts, all those videos that he made with Myrtle, everything, they're all available still. And
absolutely.
you know, see, we've got a little piece of him that will always be there. I mean, it's not the same, but at least, you know, if we've got a question, we can still go ask Cousin Russ. You know, we can.
He's left a huge legacy in the
Yeah.
genealogy world. I mean, in each one of us that his lives that he's touched. But
Yes.
you know, the genealogy world is just so much richer that he was part of it. And so I was
Absolutely.
actually reading his obituary today, and I read that he was part of a barbershop quartet.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Oh,
I did not know that. You know, you find out things about people when they're not here. But I thought, oh, I wish I had heard him sing in a quartet. That would have been
yes.
cool.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming and doing this tonight, just to honor this great man who's touched so many lives. And I know for you who are watching, there's things that you have learned and have benefited from all the work that Russ did, whether you met him in person or were just able to be influenced by the teaching that he did and his just generosity in all things. We would love it if you would leave a comment about how you felt about Russ, maybe a memory that you have, and how his personality, his support, his love has helped you with your genealogy. And with that, we say till we meet again, Cousin Russ. Thank you for everything that you did for our community. And with that, we'll see you next time on GenFriends. Bye, everybody.